order, because I know everybody's got meetings that they need to run to. We're gonna pull, first on our agenda is gonna be Senate Bill 2408. I'm gonna call on Senator Delano to explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill deals with the 988 program, Crisis Lifeline program that we adopted. I believe it was 2 years ago through statute. It was implemented last year. The changes that are in this bill now will require that that forms of identification from the state will have printed on the back of it a particular quote. I'll give you that quote, which is shown on line 207, which is going to say on the back of your driver's license or any other ID that's issued by the state, including those issued for IHL identification. It'll say, quote, crisis lifeline dash dial or text 988 or chat 988 lifeline.com or .org, unquote. And that's just to provide acute mental health and or suicide prevention assistance for someone who calls that line. So this will be printed on the back of driver's license as they are renewed or initially issued. So it's not requiring us to replace everything that's already out in the public domain at this time. That's an explanation of the bill, and I'll yield for any questions.
Questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion to be title sufficient to pass.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll do Senate Bill 2411. Senator Delano, if you'll explain the bill, please.
Madam Chair, this is a bill that was introduced last year that was intended to help ITS with some employment issues, and it provided them the opportunity to do a internship program that was copied directly from the auditor's office and the program that they have set up. It's been very successful for the auditor's office. ITS had requested this. And Madam Chair, as I went through this discussions and I had an opportunity to interact with the agency that I have a lot of work with DEQ, they had asked for an amendment to this particular bill that would allow them to do the same thing. Now, I'm going to say this for my appropriations chairman that's in here, and I see him over there already glaring at me. But this is subject to available funds or funds that are appropriated. So there is no money in this bill. Again, the bill that's before us right now and in our packets is for ITS and ITS only. However, Madam Chair, at the appropriate time, I would like to offer a conceptual amendment that Sam has already worked on, and he already has. It's just not included in this particular packet, but it would be a copy and paste of the exact same language that would make this type of a program available for DEQ, for them to be able to work with our colleges and universities to come up with students to help with the ever increasing problems that they have in attracting and retaining qualified engineers and professionals within their agency. So that would be an amendment if you're so willing to take that.
Chair is willing to take that, so.
Okay,
your amendment.
so that I've explained the amendment, and I would like to offer that amendment. Are there any questions on the amendment itself?
Any questions? If not, make your motion.
Motion maybe to adopt the amendment.
All those in favor? The motion?
Must be that thermal thing again. Any other questions on the bill? All right, the motion to be title sufficient.
The ayes have it. Next. Explain Senate Bill 2557, the ground solar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. Senate Bill 2557 simply allows Mississippi State University to enter into contracts or leases with entities to put solar farms on MSU property. The leases cannot exceed 50 years, and at the end of the lease, the land will revert back to Mississippi State University. I'll yield for any questions.
I would just like to explain it a little. I haven't had a chance to read it. I don't have a full understanding of it.
Yes, sir. My understanding, what Mississippi wants to do, they're currently talking to different people. And as you know, solar farm installation has become very popular as we go further along in the renewable energies field. And Mississippi State University, being a land grant institution, has a lot of land all over the place. And I think this just gives them the flexibility and the option to have that open conversation with entities about putting solar farms on some of the MSU-owned property. Yes, sir.
Senator Hobson, I think you had a question. Okay. Senator Polk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Williams, what could it be, these solar farms, could they be put on any property that Mississippi State owns?
Yes, as I understand it.
Okay, so it's not just their agricultural.
Hang on. I read it a while ago. Yes.
Yes, I understand. This would be just for property owned by the Mississippi Agriculture Forestry.
That property is located where?
Statewide, we have four. Two Stonewall,
And it can be a 50-year lease.
Up to a 50-year
But
lease.
it
Yes.
can be a 50.
Yes, sir, it can.
Okay. How many 50-year leases do we have now in IHL?
As far as I know, there's one we did about 2 years ago that could be up to a 50-year lease also for Mississippi State. And in conversations about that, that seems to be becoming more of a standard that it used to be. I believe 40-year lease was what we had looked at historically before that.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Hobson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is the need for a 50-year lease because of the installation of the solar panels? Do they have 50-year life expectancy?
I believe solar panels have about a 30-year life expectancy at this moment. I think the reason for the 50-year lease, as I understand it, is the monetization of the project. Just requires that. As in reference in a bill we did a few years ago, is 50-year lease. That was the amount of time required, I guess, to make the money work.
What about at the conclusion of the lease? I see that it says the property reverts. I mean, it should revert back to Mississippi State anyway, because it's just a lease, but who's going to clean up if the company finishes the lease and there's a bunch of solar panels sitting out on the farm field, who's going to clean that up? Your battery going out.
There we go. In reading through that, I'm going to assume that's going to be in the provisions of the contract that's signed. Negotiated between Mississippi State.
I would assume that too. I'm sure Brandon Jolly or somebody at Mississippi State would make sure that that was in there, but would you be opposed to, well, I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud now. If it'd be worthwhile to put that in as a requirement, I would think that any good
I would
attorney
not be
on a
opposed to
solar
that at
panel
all.
lease would make sure that the company leasing it would be responsible for cleaning up the property and putting it back in the same condition, reasonable wear and tear accepted.
That's a good point. I'm definitely, if you want to do that as a friendly amendment, I'm not opposed to it. As I've looked at very few contracts, but some of them, usually they have terminology like we'll restore it to its aforementioned, whatever it is. If it's a dormitory that's going to have an end use of life, sometimes tearing that dormitory down is in the contract. I would think putting the land back at the way you found it, however we word that, would be in there, but that is an assumption. This bill does not say that or require that. We're given that latitude to.
If well, I guess this stuff will be worked out in the lease, but just thinking if it's a 30-year life expectancy, I'm not sure if a 50-year lease would be, I mean, maybe it gets a little bit more, but 50 years is a long time for a
Yes, it
lease.
is.
I have some amount of heartburn about going 50 years on a lease, But if that's what's needed to do this kind of project, and I understand these solar panels are unique in that arena, and you may not be able to get any tenants that do that kind of work if you have a lesser period. I don't know.
I'll do further investigation between now and the time we get to this floor and try to better satisfy that concern.
That's fine. And I'll just, I mean, Madam Chair, I'll defer to you if you want the amendment now, or you want to wait and just take it up on the floor. Either way, now, okay, my amendment would be that there be mandated, there be a provision in the lease that would require that at the conclusion of the lease or any other time before, I'm just thinking like abandonment of the project, that the lessee is obligated for all cost of returning the land back to its close to original condition as possible, reasonable wear and tear accepted.
Would it be more appropriate to put return to land abandonment could be done because of non-payment or something, and then they leave it that way? But if, before returning the land to MSU, because it could happen short of a lease expiration. Not sure.
Do you have any more questions for Senator Hobson and his amendment? Senator Lino?
Senator Hobson, I think what you're trying to say, if I'm understanding it correctly, is that you would like to have all leasehold improvements removed from the property upon expiration or termination of the lease?
Yes, and the land returned back. I don't want to just, rip it out of the ground and, land foreman or whatever's got to be done to get it back to where it was when they got it, essentially. That's it. That's the
Like in
intention.
similar and through, or like in similar condition of property at the time of lease execution or something along those
Yes,
lines?
yeah,
Thank you.
that's it.
All right, do you have any more questions on Senator Hobson's amendment? All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Senator?
One of the things that is that the time period, the length of time. We're looking at 50 years and, we've had problems in leasing agricultural land for that period of time. And I think some consideration should go there, but we can bring it up on the floor.
Senator Williams, with that direction, will you do some research for us and that length of period of time before it
Yes, I
comes
will.
to the floor?
Yes, ma'am, I will.
All right, back in Senator Hobson's amendment. Do we have any other additional questions on Senator Hobson's amendment? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that amendment has been adopted. Back to the original bill. Is there any other questions that anyone has for Senator Williams and the bill? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Do I have a motion?
Title sufficient, due pass, committee sub.
All right, title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, if we'll go next to 2728, this is for the University of Mississippi to authorize to enter into a long-term lease. If you'll notice on that, I will tell y'all that I'm going to propose an amendment in just a few minutes. They do not have the exact project yet, but we want to keep this moving forward that they would like permission to do. So I'm going to, in a second, to offer two amendments to this. Right now, the proposed time period is 60 years. I'm going to propose an 65. I'm going to propose that we lower that to 30 years. And then also I'll offer that amendment first. So I'm moving that we amend this bill to lower this period from 65 to 30. All those in favor? Okay, no opposed. I'm also going to add a reverse repealer since we don't have more of a description for the project that they are exactly proposing. But we want to keep this moving forward as they're working out some details internally and so we would like to continue to move this project forward where that they will be doing a long-term lease for a particular project. So they have several that they're working on, but they have been trying to get this to us and they've run into a couple of hiccups. So anyway, I would ask, I'm going to make a motion that we add a reverse repealer on this bill. Okay. All those in favor? All opposed? All right, and I'm going to move to the original motion. Okay.
Questions?
Any questions? All right.
Motion, title sufficient, due pass, committee sub.
All right, motion to title sufficient to pass committee sub. All in favor? All right, any opposed? Okay, and our final bill that we have before us, we're talking, and you've got some papers here in front of y'all too that talk about the Rural Physician Scholarship Program and the dentist rural scholarship program. We have here from the University of Mississippi Medical Center, we have Christine, I think we have Anna somewhere. Oh, she stepped out. Okay. This is some technical changes that we have to the program. The materials that we passed out to you give you some information about the program, and I've got just a little bit of data for you. This is a program that is fairly new to our state. Just to let you know, we have 62 rural physician scholarships each year. Each scholarship is about $35,000. We also have 12 rural dentist scholarships each year. Again, each scholarship is about $35,000. That is already in their budget. We have some technical changes that they are recommending to the program. If you look at what it does is it removes their, for both the physician scholarship and the rural dentist scholarship. Right now, the law reads that the student themselves has to be from a rural area. And we have removed that provision because a child that is from Jackson, therefore, would not be eligible for this scholarship. So we're requesting permission to remove that requirement. We also, this new language that we're doing creates reporting requirements for the commission to include an annual report to the legislature showing the program's budget, number of participants, matriculation status, practice locations, area of practice around the state, the number and cause of participants who breach their obligation to the program, the status of the participants who are practicing in their rural areas, how many have stayed there after those obligations were complete. Additionally, we are making changes in the Rural Physician Scholarship Program to technical changes that changes UMMC to Medical and Osteopathic School in Mississippi, since the program admits students from both UMMC and William Carey. And the last technical change on the Rural Physician Scholarship Program is a technical change which removes the phrase outside the state of Mississippi. And I don't remember what that line is referring to.
207.
And line 207. Additionally, if we look at the Mississippi Rural Dentist Scholarships, we have a technical change that changes that Mississippi Dental School to the University of Mississippi School of Dentistry, just because the Mississippi Dental School doesn't exist really. So those are the technical changes on that. I am happy to answer questions, and we have people here who can talk about this if y'all have particular questions for them. So are there any questions? Senator Sparks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The removal of the rural portion of the requirement is for an applicant, but not for where they will serve after the program, correct?
Absolutely.
They're still required, same requirements to work in a rural designated area.
Right.
Thank you.
Additional questions, Senator Polk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Your last statement that you made, we're changing it to a Mississippi or Mississippi Dental School.
It is changing to the University of Mississippi School of Dentistry because it said Mississippi Dental School, like
Okay.
referring to like Jackson Law School, like there used to be. So it's changed it just to the only dental school we have in the state.
What if later on there is another dental school in Mississippi? We'll have to come back and change that name. Is that correct? Like we just did on the middle school?
Yes, sir, but I don't think that would be, we would have to do appropriations with that as well. So
Well, it could be a private.
yes, sir, but if they were eligible for the scholarship, we would probably have to come back and make sure appropriations so that could flow to that as well.
All right, thank you, madam.
Yes. Any other questions? All right.
Motion.
We have a motion here. All those in favor? Any opposed? Do I have a motion?
Rise report.
Rise and report. We will meet 2:00 on Monday. All right. I'm sorry, 3:00. 3:00 on Monday. 3:00 on Monday. All right.